What's going on, everybody? So one of my favorite style fragrances as it starts to cool down, because it's a pretty cold day today, hence the reason I'm wearing a hoodie in the first place, would be boozy fragrances. Spicy fragrances always do the trick for me. That's my taste and my palate, but I also really enjoy some immensely boozy fragrances, whether it's rum, cognac, a heavy gin note. It's just something about a boozy fragrance. And in this video, I'm updating my list of my 10 favorite boozy fragrances from, it's been about 2 years since the last time I did this. So I've got 10 different ones for you this time. Stay tuned. Starting with probably one of the most elegant boozy fragrances out there. This is such a great release from 2020. I'm talking about Pasha de Cartier. This is the Parfum flanker. So this is very green herbal in the background, smooth and creamy sandalwood, big strong boozy nuance up top. Oh man, has a nice smooth spice. Everything about this fragrance is smooth. There's nothing rough around the edges from opening blast to finish. It performs really well. It holds strong on my skin. I get every bit of 8 hours out of it, and it does project relatively heavy for the first hour and a half to 2 hours without being room filling. Very pronounced. This is one of those more gentlemanly type of boozy fragrances. It takes that original Pasha de Cartier Pasha de Cartier DNA, that fougere quality that it has at its core. While the note breakdown is not the same, you do smell a bit of the original, and it does have that masculinity, that class and elegance, but much warmer, much boozier, and much woodier. Lovely fragrance. I can't recommend this one to you guys enough. That's why I wanted to start the video with this one. One of the classiest boozy fragrances out there, in my opinion, is Pasha de Cartier Parfum. Next is one that's just so damn good. Shame on me, I hardly even wear it because I hold it in such high regard. This is a lovely take on the Fahrenheit DNA from Dior. This is Fahrenheit Le Parfum. So a lot of licorice, a lot of rum. Beautiful, beautiful, boozy, delicious, violet leaf dominant fragrance. That licorice really stands out. Of course, the violet leaf, which is the heart and soul of Fahrenheit. And it's just such a strong rum. It really is. Lasts a very, very, very long time. It's quite loud, but not room filling loud. Well, the first hour is close to filling a room. But after that, it's very pronounced without just being too in your face. It's one of those more consistent type of projections that I've come to expect anyways from Parfum flankers. This is the highlight of the line, in my opinion. Yes, there's a ton of flankers out there over the years. Fahrenheit Absolute, Aqua Fahrenheit. There's so many wonderful versions of Fahrenheit, but for me, this is the cream of the crop. This is a bit pricier. This is, well over $100 in that $115, $120 range for a 75 ml, but worth every penny in my opinion. You don't need a lot of sprays. This is a 3 to 4 spray fragrance for me, and 4 sprays, the performance is pretty stout and stellar for me. Long lasting, very pronounced, and has a bit of a uniqueness. It does smell like Fahrenheit, but a much more smooth and refined version of Fahrenheit. This is another one that dials up the class and elegance a bit, kind of like Pasha de Cartier Parfum, but this is on an even more upscale approach in my opinion. This one begs you to dress it up. This is a lovely fragrance that's getting harder to find these days, but the booziest way to smell like, to get Fahrenheit, because it's the only one that I know of that has rum. I'm not sure if the Absolute has it, but the Le Parfum definitely does, and plenty of it. Very boozy, very delicious, and just super refined. Fahrenheit Le Parfum. So you can't have a boozy fragrance video without one of the most popular designer boozy fragrances ever made. I mean, it's even in the name, with Amen Pure Malt. Now, from what I understand, it's not the performer that it once was. Man, but is it still good. You still get that patchouli heart of what Amen is all about, that chocolatey coffee scented patchouli smell, but this dials the booziness and the sweetness to 11. It's cranked up heavy. You get a bunch of caramel, you get a bunch of honey. It's super sweet, but super, super boozy. That's its main attraction, really, is the density and the life you get out of the boozy note in here. You're going to smell like you've been drinking, to be honest with you. You're going to smell like you've been drinking. If you don't want to smell like that, you might want to avoid this one, because this is probably the strongest boozy note in this video, to be completely honest with you. There's one other that kind of runs a race with it that we'll get to in a minute. But, you know, not the same performance from what I'm told as the older style Terry Mugler bottles before the buyout, before they just became Mugler. This one is just Mugler, but it's like a 7 or 8 hour fragrance on my skin still, and it's still pretty damn loud. Not a room filler, again, just like the others, but very well pronounced and easy to smell me when I wear it. Compliment getter, especially if you're, you know, going to a party or a dinner or some type of event where there's going to be some adult beverages being consumed. This will blend into that scenario quite well. Lovely fragrance, an iconic boozy fragrance, really and truly, is Mugler Pure Malt. The newest boozy fragrance to my collection is such an absolute delight. It smells like you're having a rum and coke while you smoke a nice cigar. Maison Margiela Replica Jazz Club. Another one, very iconic boozy tobacco fragrance. So smooth, so rich. It even says on here, heady cocktails and cigars. And that's what it's trying to replicate, and it does that very well. I definitely picture having a mixed drink, a rum mixed drink, while smoking a nice moist tobacco cigar. And you know how it is with your cigar. You cut the end, you lick it a couple of times, you light that bad boy up. That's what it reminds me of. Very, very good performer. Long lasting on my skin. Another one so far with the test sprays that I've done on it, I'm getting in that 7 to 8 hour range on my skin, which is right in that sweet spot for me. And this is so smooth. That's what's impressed me so much about this, is the quality and the smoothness while still being very rich and warm, and having a bit of a class for being more on the playful side, because it's a boozy tobacco fragrance. It's not the most elegant fragrance, but the way the blend is done with the quality, it kind of classes things up just a tad from what you would expect from most boozy tobacco fragrances. This is very lovely. I'm very happy to have it in my collection. I got a lot more time to spend with this one because it's so new to me, but it is great nonetheless. This Maison Margiela Replica. This is Jazz Club. So the brandy note in here dials up that sweet boozy nuance on a classic aromatic fougere and makes it just so much better than its original. I'm talking about Azzaro Pour Homme Intense. Another one that's pretty new to the collection that I've only worn twice. I haven't spent a ton of time with, but I'm in love with this fragrance. It's so good. It takes everything that was good about the original, smooths it out, warms it up, polishes and refines it, and adds that sweet boozy nuance. This cinnamon really adds a lot of warmth, but that brandy note adds this sweet booziness that doesn't overtake the fragrance. It still smells like a spicy aromatic, which I've always loved about the original. Even though it's dated at this point, I understand this is such a better version. And not the booziest fragrance out there, but it is noteworthy of how much that brandy note actually changed the DNA for Azzaro Pour Homme. For me, and in my opinion, made it such a better fragrance. Not as crazy boozy as an Amen Pure Malt, for example. You won't smell like you've been drinking all night, but it does have that aroma, and it really rounds out the composition and gives it a lot more character that may have been lacking after all these years of people smelling it over and over and over. That brandy note really changed things, added a little bit of character, and like I said before, made it such a great fragrance. This is such a steal for the scent, the quality, and the performance that you can get for under $40. Just a great fragrance. Azzaro Pour Homme Intense. So this is another one of those quite heavy on the booziness, but it doesn't stay the entire life of the fragrance. It does kind of disappear after about an hour and a half, 2 hours. It fades to the back, and you're left with a nice, sweet, leathery scent. I'm talking about Carolina Herrera CH Men Prive. Another classic boozy fragrance in the designer market. Oh man, there's that sweet booziness up top. It's beautiful. This is an intoxicating aroma. I've always called this the On the Prowl scent. Those of you familiar with the channel that have been watching for a while, every time you've ever heard me talk about this fragrance, you've heard me say that, because I believe this is a great weapon in a single man's fragrance wardrobe. Because when I say that, single guys tend to go out a lot more than us married guys, okay? I don't really go out much anymore unless I'm going out with my wife. And this is one that will turn heads when you're walking through a crowd at a bar. This is good for that. It's not a room filler. It's got just the right amount of projection to grab somebody when you walk by. It is an intoxicating aroma. This isn't one of those, ooh, who smells good? This is one of those type of scents. Great for a single guy walking through a crowded bar. Very boozy. And like I said, it leaves that sweet seductive trail after the booziness tends to fade. It's a classic. It's been on many boozy lists for a lot of people over the years, I'm sure, because it deserves to be. Carolina Herrera, CH Men Prive. My favorite, and in my opinion, most refined tobacco scent out there. I'm talking about Argos, Triumph of Bacchus. Look at that gorgeous color of this juice. It has matured, and the juice has gotten more vibrant in color and more rich in scent profile. The peach just pops so much more in that top note than it did before. Gorgeous rum absolute in here. It's at the forefront. It takes a hold of your olfactory. It really grabs you. Like I said, beautiful peach and apple. Fruitiness up top with this gorgeous rum note and this supportive tobacco that doesn't take over until a little while later. The tobacco's very present, but it kind of takes a back seat in the opening. And like I said, you're greeted with fruits and rum. It's such a pure, clean smell. Very classy, very elegant. Smells expensive because it is expensive. Not a cheap fragrance, but worth every penny in my opinion. This is a performer that is loud, very unisex. Some of you have heard me say this before. It's my stepdaughter's favorite fragrance. She took my 30 ml bottle from me. And last I talked to her, it's almost empty, so got to get her another bottle. But nonetheless, you should try this one. In my opinion, the main fragrance to get your hands on or at least sample from Argos. Bacio Immortel is a close second. It's a great raspberry leather, fruity leather. But this is my favorite tobacco scent. Has been ever since the first time I've smelled it. I love this fragrance. There's a discount code for 10% off. Get yourself a sample pack from Argos. Try what the house has to offer. I'm almost willing to bet, I'm pretty confident, this ends up being your favorite because it's that damn good. My favorite tobacco scent and my favorite boozy tobacco for sure. Head and shoulders above the rest because of the quality, the richness, and the performance. Man, if you're looking for a beast, Triumph of Bacchus is a beast. Speaking of boozy beasts, this is a red wine accord. Extremely boozy honey bomb. Talking about 1821 man-made sweet tobacco spirits. This stuff is potent. This is a Parfum concentration. Super, super rich. Super rich smell. Thick, sticky, holds on your skin. My experience with this bottle, all day and then some. Still pumping and pushing when I take my shower in the evening. Loud, delicious smelling. Like I said, red wine accord, honey tobacco smell. Absolutely magnificent scent profile. This has some hype in the community a while back. Not too many people really talk about it much anymore. $80-ish, I believe, is the retail on this for a 100 ml, worth every penny. You can find them online in the $60-ish range, $55, $60 range. Definitely worthy. Great, warming, loud compliment magnet. Super boozy. Red wine accord, like I said, a little bit of a uniqueness because of that. It's not the most unique scent out there, but that red wine accord really stands out to me because I don't have anything else that has that particular accord in it for the hundreds and hundreds of fragrances I have. This is just delightful. Super boozy, very sweet and thick, and different. 1821 man-made sweet tobacco spirits. Definitely the most affordable fragrance on the list from discounters. You can get this in the sub $30 range, and in my opinion, it's a bit spicier and boozier than its intense counterpart. Those of you that are fans of the channel, you know this is the one I prefer. I'm talking about Bentley for Men, the original. I prefer this over the intense because it's boozier and spicier, which is why it fits this video topic. The rum is much more prominent here. You don't have all the smoke and the aggressive leather that is in the intense version. While the intense version is great, it's still boozy. I feel like the rum takes a little bit of a back seat to the leather and the smoke, whereas the spices and the rum are in the forefront with the original. It still performs very well. It's still 8 to 10 hours on my skin easily. And like I said, sub $30 range. For the longest time, I'm not sure if it's still like that. It was around $24, $25 from most discounters. Even in the 30 some odd dollar range, it's still more than worth it. It doesn't smell synthetic. It does smell of quality, like a higher end designer scent. Performs, has some uniqueness for being a spicy, boozy fragrance. It's just lovely. The smokiness isn't there. The leather is still there, but it's more held back and toned down, and more your base note instead of up in the forefront and in your face like in the Intense. Beautiful fragrance. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Roll the dice on this one. If you're looking for a wonderful boozy cold weather fragrance, Bentley for Men is great. Last but not least, this is my favorite fragrance that features a dominating cognac note. Lovely, sweet, alcoholic vibe. It's got this Coke float type of smell. It's a lovely tobacco. There's plenty of sweetness here. It's a lovely fragrance. The benzoin really pops and gives it that extra character. Talking about Creation E from Roja Parfums. I like to wear this one strictly in the winter. And we're not quite to winter weather just yet, but whenever it rolls around, man, I can't wait to wear this one. Such a good fragrance. The best cold weather fragrance from them, in my opinion. And I have a lot of fragrances from Roja Parfums at this point, and this is still my favorite for the winter. Oh yeah. Known as Enigma across the pond, over here in the States, it's Creation E. And like I said, the benzoin mixed with the cognac gives this Coke float, Dr. Pepper float type of appeal in the top. Once the benzoin kind of calms down a bit, the tobacco comes in a lot more. It becomes this lovely, sweet, boozy tobacco scent. Performance is no slouch. It's quite loud without being a room filler. And it's a 12-hour fragrance easily. This is some really, really good stuff. It has that bright freshness of a cologne with the performance longevity of a parfum, hence the name of the collection, Parfum Cologne. It's just great. Get a sample and try this one. It is great. Creation E Parfum Cologne, Roja Parfums. Well, that is my 10 current favorite boozy fragrances in my collection. Obviously not the only 10 I have that feature a prominent boozy accord of some sort, but definitely my 10 favorites. And until next time, do me a real quick favor, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, because I do appreciate all the feedback, and I love hearing from you guys. What's some of your favorite boozy fragrances? Are any of these some of your favorites? Let me know down in the comments. And until next time, I will say, if you get your hands on any of the 10 that are my personal favorites and you give them a spray now, pretty confident you'll thank me later. Have a good one, guys.